Anyway, what I'm trying to say is they have the playmaking potential as well. We've seen Judo on the pole from the Zarya, 100% charge nearly the entire way through, double grabs in record amount of times as well, could not get killed.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, we've seen Kent throw amazing plays with his Sombra, now also with his Tracer as well.
Yeah.
Shui from last week, we saw some big plays on him, so almost across the board for Machi.
Yeah.
We're seeing the individual talent.
Yeah, this team is just, you know, cherries all the way down, baby. And already Kent just kind of weaving in on pass. They've kind of got the setup that they need, and yeah, Bazaar.
And he's sniping though.
Yeah, that's. I'm looking forward to this. I hope it really connects, and we, you know, get the conversion and all that jazz.
Note the triple DPS out of Bazaar, that they can't make too many mistakes, they can't take too much damage. Zobi's only got so much healing output, and Buparapa has to immediately go back and get a health fake. We're still waiting for Panties to clean up these shots.
Yeah, and that's the thing. This team comp is very reliant on Panties actually hitting shots. So if he's not, especially when the damage just from Kant is enough to close out Buparapa, and now the team's just kind of in disarray. Panties now pressured out, having to back away, and Bazaar just now have to wait for respawn, still waiting on that pick from Panties as well.
And the big problem is so much of this damage from Machi just sticks. Look at the ult charge now, the spam damage, the poke damage. Restia's already got a nano. Now you can expect him to throw it right on top of D-Crown. Once he's got the nano, he can get himself a primal rage. The wheels are starting to turn for Machi, and they're about to execute.
And after that, they just start cycling into those other ultimates as well. Sleep Dart not quite connecting, but it doesn't matter. The Bionate did, and the damage was there. Good catch back onto Shui, though, but it's not really enough. Bazaar, they're the ones actually piling into the confined space. They thought that they were kind of bottling up Machi, but I mean, that's where that triple DPS is so volatile, because Machi could just out-heal what Bazaar were doing in that particular situation, then started heading back without too much trouble.
And now Panties, straight off that Widowmaker, could not find himself a single kill. Gonna be quite a disappointing performance from him, I bet, going on to...
Very uncharacteristic one, too.
I would have to say so, and this might be the mentality starting to falter already, but on to the Moira, still looking to get out the front gate, but not able to do so.
Oh, just tossing the self-destruction so casually. They do actually get Judo while he's out of the mech, but Bazaar need to be careful piling in on that, because again, Buparapa quite low, but they've got the conversion on Kant. Now they're feeling confident to go in with the sound barrier on. They should be able to get some headway before Machi can start heading back. They even catch Restia in there, but Buparapa in too deep, and going down just before he had that primal rage means Machi with their ultimates should actually be able to start putting some hurt back on the point once they've got these extra members in.
They need to, right, and they're going to give up 2 ticks for this as well. It's expensive, and they need this Dragon Blade. It's going to be really
Straight
big.
in.
He's already nearly dead.
Oh, and gets caught by the Swift Strike from Pichu, who, by the way, does have his own Dragon Blade, but the kills are coming through the way of Machi, and with that Transcendence, they have the stability now on the point, just need to close out on these tanks, but that's easier said than done. Wow,
okay.
It's Kiyomi to safety,
That's
actually.
an escape.
But in that time, Kant went down, and actually that does mean Kiyomi was kind of forced out of the fight. They know that this is done for. They have to take the dive as well, because there was only the 1/3 left. In fact, there might not be time to reset before Bazaar go in for the snowball.
And you could see the snowball coming out from Bazaar on Cap A, right, because Restia's nano onto D-Crown wasn't good enough to get them when Shui got countered right away, and Bazaar wasting no time. Coalescence directly onto the point. Pichu with the blade ready to go.
D-Crown was very early on the Primal Rage as well, was trying to displace and disrupt Bazaar, but Tsusami gets the catch, gets one. Ooh, the trade back is there. The self-destruct from Sadistic, I think, is not really going to do enough work. Judo just perfectly placing it. Bazaar had to be a little bit split up because of that. Machi really capitalized. That's one way to stabilize, and a really great one as well for all the ultimates they got out of Bazaar.
And Judo, the sacrificial lamb as well, the self-destruct did a lot more work than probably even given credit for here. You saw what it did. Pichu with the Dragon Blade, yes, he did catch Judo in the Baby Diva form, but the self-destruct meant that everyone, including him, with that Dragon Blade, had to leave that point. He could not continue that rampage, could not continue using those resets to get further kills. And Machi, they cleaned up those kills instead.
Now Bazaar with no ults, no resources, no nothing really, just kind of have to brute force their way in. And they only have a narrow window to do it before these ultimates come up from Machi, but catching Kant is a great way to start. Need to close out on Restia, who can just nano boost D-Crown, kind of stop these members up. In fact, gonna land on Judo. He is currently sitting in the front line, and Bazaar very quick to back off from that despite the numbers advantage.
You can see the healing output from Restia is starting to become so impactful. Judo, he was nattoed in the middle of that, but also before he was nattoed, he was very aggressive, but barely took the damage. Bazaar, they got capped, but they couldn't clean up anybody else. They're getting stuck in this little choke. Can't go down again.
They've done it again, but again, we see Bazaar just kind of waiting off in the wings for a moment. It's like they feel like they need to get another pick before they go in, but they may have just found it. So the self-destruct out from Judo. They've got the sort of the dome on it. It can't really do much, but the Bunny Blaster is going to kill the Tsusama. That is one heck of a sleep dart. And off the back of it, Bazaar just kind of had to pull back, reeling.
They have ultimates now, but they also use ultimates. So for Bazaar, they got to get out quickly. They know they can't win this one anymore. Restia nearly onto another nano boost. He can have the pick of the litter here as well. Use it on D-Crown, it's probably going to be good. Use it on Shui, that's a nano blade. But for Bazaar, we've waited for Pichu to get this tactical visor. They've managed to get camp very early on. If they can get that pick again, or any pick, turn it into a 6 versus 5, use that advantage, then convert with the tech visor, they can win with that.
Man, Tsusama dying to the Bunny Blaster, I think, was the real swing point there, because everyone was zoned by the self-destruct, and that was the moment Machi were able to spend to reposition. That sort of kill shouldn't happen. How do you let that happen as Tsusama? And we're seeing it just so often.
Restia's healing's been great. Like, Judo's still alive, and the Nano Blade
straight into the choke when they're sadistic as he tries to remech, and yeah, the Nano Blade just too much for them to handle. Shui barely even taking damage throughout that. Sadistic did at least get to remech, actually. Late catch on Judo. If they can heal up Bumbarapa, they may just be able to re-enter in time here. They need to get Pichu set up on the high ground.
Pichu should be running back from spawn at any second now as well. Valkyrie nearly available for Zobi. You can see Pichu roughly in the bottom right there in the picture just a little bit with his team finally.
But Machi know it, they've read it, they know exactly what Bazaar is setting up for. They throw the mech into the choke point, they split up the team and even kill the supports, plus D-Mech Sadistic. I mean, that's just beautiful. That is incredible placement by Judo to just thread it in there. And like I said, they read what Bazaar were doing and had exactly the tools they needed to counter it. Bazaar, they need to either be moving quicker or anticipating that Machi is going to try and shut down their movements.
At the same time, though, when you are running a soldier, there's pretty much one way you're going to go here. That is up the top right on the stairs. They're being forced onto the bottom. So Machi, they're kind of in a good position no matter what. They either counter Bazaar's original positioning or they force them onto the ground where they're better.
Tsusama having to pull way out of that 1v1. That gives Camp free reign on the side as they lose Pichu already at the top of the fight. And this is probably the last fight they can afford to lose, but they haven't even really had much that's made these lost fights sort of semi-worthwhile. Bumbarapa as well, committing an ultimate into that, plus the Valkyrie out as well. These are expensive losses for Bazaar.
And now you're seeing why you don't want to go into the bottom entrance if you are Bazaar running a soldier composition. It is so much better for Machi Esports. They are so much more favored there. Dragon Blade ready for Shui as well. They're camping the high ground. If Bazaar want to go to the high ground, Machi will respond as they have so far, always constantly in this game. If Bazaar go on the ground, Machi will still respond in probably an even cleaner fashion. Pichu can't do a lot as a soldier on the ground level.
Machi, look at this. They've just got all these tools available that can just stop Bazaar before they even get started. This is one of them, the Nano Blade. And Panties was already down at the top of it. The visor just... he didn't even get a chance to use it, having held onto it for practically the entire offense, completely shut out by that Nano Blade combo for a second time, might I add. Bazaar, they just looked like they had nothing going for them there.
Well, it was all Machi reading every single play, forcing Bazaar to go where they wanted to. A shepherd herding the flock even. It was just Machi saying, this is where your pen is. Come straight in and we're going to clean you right on up. If you want to go up top, we'll find you. You want to go down bottom, we'll find you. No matter what you're going to do here, it will not be good enough. I think if you are Bazaar, you need to have the vigilance to say, we're running a soldier, we have a visor, we have to break that upper ground hold. And you should be able to do it. Most teams can do that. You can find yourself in a player advantage, bait Machi to get aggressive, punish their divers, and then storm that high ground. Bazaar just couldn't do it.
And it's kind of like they're just looking for something a bit too high value. You know, when you got that ult, you go, we want to get Soldier set up on the high ground so he can tactical visor everyone on the point. You know, it either forces people into cover and you get a third, or it kills people and you get even more than a third. But that's kind of a fallacy, right? Because Soldier on the high ground there still does damage without the tactical visor. You can still shoot at people. You can still land helix rockets. You can still get kills or force people into cover. And you can use the tactical visor to gain that ground. So Bazaar were kind of looking, I mean, it's almost like value versus tempo, right? They were looking too much at the value side of that proposition. They kind of got the dollar bills in their eyes, but didn't realize they were being hit with a door charge.
They needed to break on through. That was their play. If they didn't want to do that, they shouldn't be running the Soldier. They should have kept on playing the Genji, the Sombra. Just about anything else would have been better. But if you're going to stick to the Soldier, I think you got to break the high ground. There's no ifs or buts about it. The low ground is always going to be worse. You need to break the high ground. There's multiple ways you can do it. Multiple other teams have been able to do it very successfully, even teams in losing scenarios. So, I don't know, man. No real excuses there. Unfortunately, Bazaar, here comes that defense. And for Machi, they got time to work with because Bazaar, well, they didn't cap.
Exactly, and actually the moment that Machi cap point A, they have effectively won the series because at this point a draw results in a series win for Machi. The only way that Bazaar win this is by stopping up Machi altogether on point A, but with an early kill on Shui, it's not a bad way to start to that end, and that does put Machi in this tight spot where they need to decide whether they're going to fully pull back, and indeed looks like that may be what they want to do.
Bazaar got to go in here.
Yeah,
they need to use the 6v5. They cannot wait for Shui to come back in.
And it's almost like, oh, Sadistic failing to fly up and also getting low sleep there onto Judo. They should be able to demech him here, but they've lost Pichu in that same time. Shui's already rejoined the fray. And actually now, Machi are attacking Bazaar from two sides. Bazaar too slow to pull the trigger. Machi was stuck in a tight space at a numbers disadvantage, and Bazaar just kind of did nothing with it. Now Machi are just on this point for free.
The unfortunate thing is when they do get a kill, they're very slow to respond and take advantage of that kill. When they're nearing a kill, they don't seem to always be able to clean it up. This is kind of throwing away lives now. Final members buying whatever time that they can spare, but it is also members unfortunately just losing their lives, giving additional ult charge. They'll buy the 10 or so extra seconds, but unfortunately now, for Machi, we're close to ults, and then we're close to winning.
It's almost like they're in their own heads too much, like they're kind of psyching themselves out, not closing it out because they don't believe in their ability. It's overcaution, and it's overcaution that's costing them. And now Machi, they kind of have a snowball opportunity here. Well, coming up on a Dragon Blade, straight in with the sound barrier, already killing the Tsurusama as well. Did Sadistic even get to self-destruct? I think he did, but he's not going to get to remech. They do at least kill Shui mid-Dragon Blade. That is something, but Bazaar is still getting very pressured here. Machi are the ones that hold the ground on the point, but Bazaar in damage control modes are starting to get some back. And at last, the tactical visor that Tsurusama wasn't able to use on the entirety of their attack. He has charged up now and used on their defense. Will stop the snowball.
And a little stall here as well. The nice stagger onto Judo will help them out, but they're going to need all the help they can get. 6+ minutes is what Machi started on. 5:37 still remaining on the clock to just get one tick. Machi can spend a decent amount of time in this game. Even if they go into the overtime to get that one tick, they will get roughly, I think, 2, maybe 3 fights where they'll be distinctly ahead in terms of ultimate advantage. And that's a lot of fights where they can get one cap.
I mean, that's the thing. Time is really on their side. That just makes it harder for Bazaar, who are already actually technically at an ultimate disadvantage for this next fight. And I mean, hey, who knows? Maybe the Primal Rage makes all the difference. Certainly in terms of stalling the point out in favor of Machi, it can help. Look at this. This is the decisiveness of Machi compared to Bazaar, but they do get the Pulse Bomb connect on Judo's mech, and that does really hurt Machi's ability to continue the dive. They can't really do it with just D-Crown. Even though they have picked out Pichu, their members are too low to execute on this, and I think they recognize that actually staying here even longer is a big risk for them. But they remech Judo. They want to go. Oh, they held on for long enough. And once again, Bazaar, despite the advantage in the sheer numbers, did not capitalize on it. Look at how low Shui was on that high ground for so long. Bazaar punished dearly with a series loss.
You can see the decision making there from Machi as well. They had Sadistic on the high ground that they were fighting against, being healed by Panties on the back line as the Ana, and exactly at the right time for Machi. D-Crown goes in as the Winston. He's got Primal Rage ready as well. Snipes down Panties and then collects himself. Tsurusama, or at least forces back Tsurusama, breaking off the healing, breaking off the line of sight, breaking off the back line support. Sadistic goes down. Panties goes down. players trying to come out from spawn couldn't make it onto the point in time, and the rest of Machi collect the kills and they collect the win.
And they looked so surprised by that last push as well, Bazaar. They were legitimately not expecting Machi to go for an attack there. And I think what happened is after they demeched Judo and were getting so much pressure onto the other members, I think they were actually expecting Machi to pull back, but they didn't respect that they actually had to make Machi pull back. You can't just let the other team do it at their own accord. You've got to force the issue if that's the play that you're anticipating them making. And because of that, Bazaar were not ready for Machi to charge the mech back up, top off Shui's health, and commit as quickly and as decisively as they did. Again, Bazaar aren't pressing what little advantages they are getting, and that's the thing. It's not like nothing's going their way at all. They are making the right plays to get advantages, to get things started in fights. They're not capitalizing on it, and every time they fail to do so, it's costing them, because Machi is sitting there going, well, they're not attacking. We can just sit here on this high ground, bide our time, heal up, get the mech back, and then go. You shouldn't be able to sit right by the point with a numbers disadvantage and get away with it.
And with that, so far, 3-0. Let's take a look at what will be coming up in map number 4. This one is just going to be for points. It will take place on Junkertown. Of course, it is Bazaar's pick once again. Now, the last opportunity, Bazaar so far have always picked up at least one map in their series. They've gone 1-3, twice in 2 weeks. This is their third match in their third week. Can they get that one back? They usually get one.
But if they don't, well, kind of puts them in hot water indeed. I mean, at that point, you've got to kind of look at the rest of the standings here. You've got to look at teams like Talon, who have had good performances. You've got to look at Hong Kong Attitude as well, especially who have had good performances. Detonator Korea, they're pretty well solid, at least in that top 4, if not even in that #1 spot altogether. And then you've got 3 really great teams below them. I feel like this group is starting to shape up to which of those 3 teams is going to finish second, which is third, which is fourth. And unfortunately, right now, Bazaar aren't in that picture. They need to start getting not just map wins off some of these teams, they need to actually start closing out those series wins, fully dislodging the team in a series win. Otherwise, they are going to find themselves in 5th place. At that point, it doesn't matter how much promise you had.
And if they go 0-4 here, the really interesting thing is, technically, this will have been their worst performance out of Bazaar than their matches against both Talon and Hong Kong Attitude, who are teams that are currently ranked higher than Machi, and teams that you would probably be able to say are actually better than Machi as well, potentially. Machi are going to definitely have to prove themselves to be better than either Talon or Hong Kong Attitude. They've already lost to Hong Kong Attitude, actually. Yeah. In terms of points, maybe they can catch up. Right now, though, this is where Machi collect their points. If they can get another map win here, that's going to do a lot for them to overtake Talon and try and catch back up against Hong Kong Attitude. And for Bazaar, unfortunately, they slipped down the ranks. They have to be in 5th. And then if Chaos Theory can perform well in the next match, then I don't know, for Bazaar, things don't look great. But right now, we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. Machi's still got to earn this one. Bazaar could still win it.
And that's the thing, Bazaar just have to also not get ahead of themselves here. They just have to play the game that is in front of them, play it to the best of their ability, and the pirate ship is relatively set up. As I say that, Tsunosama does get popped, but
always dies first. By the way.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's traded places with Bumbarapa this series. Trade back onto D ground, but Zobi didn't commit the res onto Tsunosama, so they have had to change off the Bastion.
Now, there has been some decent trades. Pichu, even with the flick headshot on Shui, is got pulled in by Sadistic there in Bazaar. The pirate ship finally now officially underway. Well, not even using a Bastion.
And I mean, that's the thing. At this point, with those 2 picks, Bazaar may even be wishing they actually had raised the Bastion so that they could have him set up on the payload now. Doesn't mean that this is now bad or this isn't possible. It's just a little bit different, but certainly they could have got a bit more mileage out of that one. But the loss of Pichu there and Panny's getting well zoned back. Machi have actually stabilized already. Even closing out the kill, Bazaar just kind of had to go into retreat.
It's a good amount of card distance, and they've managed to so far dodge that killing zone. Killing zone? Yeah, maybe.
Kill box.
Kill box. How do I kill my own term? I came up with that one.
I mean, it's a pretty well-established military
22 kill streak. Bazaar now, though, man, they're just losing members. They can't. Pannies is meant to be the sniper here. He's meant to be hitting the headshot. So far, though, it's been camped.
Res on Judo as well. There's the headshot back on Pannies. They do lose Shui there, but I mean, look at the ultimates they're about to be cycling into here. Machi, I mean, Bazaar, again, numbers advantage, and they're not really able to pressure it. They're not really able to do anything with it here. And it is because they're running this double sniper sort of thing here. They do need to be getting these headshots, and more crucially, they need the Dragon Strike.
At the same time, the Dragon Strike should be coming out any time now. They do have to dodge the tire first, which can be problematic, and there it is. That is where the problem lies.
However, Machi did just kind of use everything they had there. Ooh, Panny's just barely, actually, I say scraping out alive there. Unfortunately pulled himself towards more members of Machi, but my point is actually, Machi used really everything they had in that fight, with the exception of Valkyrie, and they are getting a supercharge up as well, which means actually Bazaar are now in a really good spot for this next fight.
At the same time, though, if Kant continues connecting shots and Panties doesn't, we could be seeing something else entirely. This Dragon Strike is going to be kind of 50-50, will buy them space to work with, but what will they do with that space indeed? And for Machi, don't underestimate those ultimates either. I think they're pretty decent ultimates.
Oh, I don't know if that was quite the angle that he was looking for. Did get pulled in by the Hulk as he was channeling it, but it does at least create the space. They get Shui, but it's a 1-for-1.
Okay.
Oh, they lose Panties. Ah, this is not looking great, unfortunately, even with Pichu getting these shots in. Resin onto Kiyomi. Shui will be able to slowly make his way back. Bazaar now, can you believe Restia going in to get that kill? That is so unfortunate for Pichu. And that was the advantage that Bazaar had, just kind of going to naught.
I mean, there it is. You have it straight in front of your eyes there. The advantage being you can use a Dragon Strike to buy you space. When the Dragon Strike comes out much, you have to abandon the car. They have to abandon the kill box. They have to pull backwards. So the fact that they didn't get killed by the Dragon Strike, that's not the point. They probably weren't ever going to get killed by it. But Bazaar needed to make something happen with that space. Pichu kind of did. He managed to get kills, but Panties, again, just dying to Kant.
Unfortunately so. Now Machi just coming back into those same ultimates that absolutely crushed Bazaar a moment ago in what had been a really expensive hold. It's going to be, yeah, the Riptire out first. Doesn't actually connect. They are now just waiting to get that whole hog out from Judo, but the heal on himself with the take a breather is enough to get it charged up. The window is gone now, and the headshot on Panties and Tsunosama. Kant goes, I don't need a whole hog, I'll do it myself. Can you look at that go? That's a hook to disrupt the whole hog. Hook straight back though, and Sadistic's dead. That is not enough payload distance for Bazaar to really feel comfortable.
And this is now you get to see Kant finally coming into his own as the clutch player that he's always kind of desired to be, that we've always desired to see out of him, out sniping Panties so consistently right then as well. Panties, I don't think he had a very good night tonight, unfortunately. We've seen much better nights out of his Widowmaker. This is meant to be his almost start pick. He's a pretty decent support player, but when he brings out the Widowmaker, things happen for this team. Things did happen for this team still out of Pichu, but again, Bazaar could not capitalize onto that. And with Kant on the other side of the map, well, even if you got those 2 kills, Kant's going to clean up 2, 3, 4, whatever you like.
And here's the thing that concerns me about that even more, in fact, than Panties not quite getting those connects on the Widowmaker is actually Bazaar haven't been capitalizing on 5v6s anyway, right? The point of running that Widowmaker is you get the headshot, then you get a numbers advantage. You know, that's what creates the space. That's what gives you the in one way or another. They haven't been capitalizing on those advantages when they've got them by other means. So I actually have to even consider, look, Panty's not quite hitting his mark aside. I think even if he was, Bazaar would still be suffering the same issues and maybe not winning these fights.
It's also not as one-dimensional as that because on the other hand, if Panties is hitting his shots, he's creating the 6v5s, that also gives him a chance to get a 6v4 because if he's hitting shots, then he's hitting other shots and he gets to go off as a Widowmaker. So it's one part you give your team a 6v5, it's one part your Widowmaker gets space to work with, but none of that is happening. Neither of those halves is unfortunately happening. Now this defense needs to be rock solid. Again, we've seen Bazaar clutch it out sometimes on that one map. They can get that one map win. This is their chance to get that one map win, but it is so hard.
They just need to get it, not even all the way to the end of point A. Not going to pirate ship to it either. They know that they don't really need to. They themselves can kind of play this slow and steady sniper race. And also Shui actually going to get aggressive with this Genji. I like this setup here for Machi.
And where are the hooks? Okay, there's one hook.
Oh, unfortunately, Judo did have to spend the time healing up, so they couldn't capitalize on the halt, and D-Crown quite low there as well. There's the shot, though, on Panties, Oh, and even Judo getting one back onto Sadistic. It's just fratricide here.
You're seeing some of the issues, right, where Judo got hooked in, D-Crown went in to protect him, but neither Judo nor D-Crown went down. Finally, Bazaar able to get some kills in response, but Bazaar need to continue to convert these, and so far it does not appear that they can.
Yeah, I mean, they finally got a few through, and it looked like it was maybe going to give them some breathing room because their own members were getting quite low, but Machi were willing to stay in the fight, kill those members of Bazaar, plus relying on their closer respawns has paid off here for Machi. They're back up to full strength. Bazaar are still just resetting from spawn.
And Kant in position as well. He's got a lot of angles to work with. An immediate hook onto Sadissa. Goodbye.
Oh, man.
Tsunosama, this has to be the Riptide to end all Riptires.
I mean, if Bazaar don't even get to touch this point, that would be super rough. But with the kill on Shui and Kiyomi, they've at least got the window. They need to dive in and capitalize on it. And this time at last, Pannies gets the shot. Plus res on Tsunosama. Bazaar barely getting onto it at time. They've got a long defense ahead of them.
Finally, though, they are finding success in the final moment. So look how close they can't manage to get before Machi were unfortunately for themselves pushed backwards. Pannies sadly not hitting that hook shot there.
Yeah, just not his night on this Widowmaker, unfortunately.
They did get a kill on Cam.
We'll get the one. Yeah, woohoo! Pichu, though, demech, has to self-destruct to preserve it. We'll be able to remech as well. That was unfortunate to kind of lose that one. That's a stall tool off the table now, and Machi just kind of charging up these ultimates that they want to use to crack this fight open.
They're getting close as well. Here they come.
Already the headshot and then straight into the Dragon Blade. Doesn't matter if you can't be moved. Death is the best form of crowd control, and Shui. I mean, I said they were looking for the tools to crack the point open. What better than the can opener ultimate itself? That's all she wrote. Machi 4-0.
And Shui, even in the trap, manages to get himself a kill. Like, I'm stuck here and just come towards me. I'm magnetizing you. It's a magnetizing blade. Come and take it. He got it like himself.
I can't even say you're trapped in here with me because it's not like anyone else was trapped.
Yeah, well, that's got to be it right in the end for Bazaar. I think they finally found some success. I'm almost kind of surprised this was not a Shui play of the game, considering his huge kills right at the end there, but get to see it from the alternative angle.
And you could say he's really good at swinging the fight around.
Well, I guess that did happen.
Or at least swinging that Dragon Blade.
And Machi going to clean up with that 4, and I had no response to that, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to go full Sean Connery. Actually, he swings that.
Machi with the 4.
That short fantastically.
And Zero get to collect those handshakes. They finally get themselves a well-deserved win, because I believe they have actually not, in fact, they have not won yet, so this is their first win officially of Contenders. They lost to Detonator Korea, which is a super rough game. That was a quick 0-4.
Yeah.
Then they lost just barely to Hong Kong Attitude. That was a heartbreaker. So now collecting a 4-0, it's got to feel good for this team. It's got to feel good knowing that they have the ability to catch up to Talon, overtake them in 3rd place.
And as for Machi, it's too late. The damage is done. But in all seriousness, you're quite right about that win for Machi, because in a way, they've also got their toughest matches out of the way now. With that exception maybe being Talon, that's one that they desperately need to win if they want to secure themselves in playoffs. And by secure, I mean not just scrape by in 4th place. I mean, like, be at least sat in that 3rd, get that slightly more favorable matchup as well, just with how that all ends up working out. You certainly don't want to be the 4th place finisher and end up going up against what will likely be blank over in the other group. So I think Machi, this is a win that they have been kind of gearing up towards. I don't want to say that they've had like a disappointing start to Contenders, because they have also had matches against literally the top 2 teams in their group right now. If you're the 3rd place team in the end of it all and you lost to the 1st and 2nd place team, that's not a bad start. That's actually pretty expected. That's generally how these sort of things work out, right? So Machi now do look like the Machi that are going to make a playoffs run.
Absolutely, and with that as well, you know, they had that 2-3 loss against Hong Kong Attitude.
Yeah.
So if Hong Kong Attitude ends up being the number 2 team, to have that close of a scrape against the number 2 team kind of says, well, actually, this could have also been the number 2 team. Machi could have been there, but right now, they got their eyes set on Talon, and we have our eyes set on the remaining matches as well. For Bazaar, unfortunately, they dropped down just a little bit further, joining the ranks of Chaos Theory down right in the relegation spots number 5 and number 6. So things are not looking great for this team so far. In fact, I
Yeah.
would go as far as to say things looked much better earlier on in the season.
And it does seem that Bazaar just being plagued by a couple of issues that they've yet to really shake and address. And I think no night have they been more pronounced on than tonight. But that does have a bit of a blessing attached to it, you also have to say, because once you've had such a confronting situation like that, where your weaknesses and your issues have been exploited time and time and time again, I guarantee you Bazaar are going to watch back over that and speak about all the things that we've just been speaking out. Notice all the times they could have put on the pressure, probably won some fights, maybe had a completely different series, and I guarantee you they are going to start drilling those exact situations.
Yep.
I don't know if they can actually make a playoffs run here, unfortunate as that is to say, but this is still an extremely good team, an extremely promising team, and in a lot of respects, an extremely young team. I don't just mean in terms of age. They've got a fair spread across the board, but in terms of how long they have played together for and also at a professional level for, that is something that Machi just have, you know, leaps and bounds ahead of them. But Bazaar are a team I see coming back out of trials again, back into Contenders for Season 2, and giving Machi a much more challenging series somewhere down the line.
And right now, Bazaar, the rest of their journey kind of looks like they have Chaos Theory left, and then they have Detonator Korea. So can they make a playoffs run? I think sadly not, because Detonator Korea is one of those teams they got to get past, and Detonator Korea creamed Machi. Machi just creamed Bazaar. It's not looking good in that particular matchup. However, they can still potentially get themselves a win later down the line against Chaos Theory. That's going to be their final opportunity, right? You want to see pretty much everyone walk away with a win if possible.
At least.
And Chaos Theory haven't got themselves that win yet either. So we might get to the end of the season. Chaos Theory will play Bazaar. Neither have gotten a win just yet. That could be a possibility, and one will walk away with a win, and one will walk away winless. So it will be, you know, a very important match for both of those teams. Machi now get to fight for their top 3 placement. They were fighting for top 4. Now they get to fight for top 3. It's even better than that. So things are looking up and up for these two teams. Still waiting for a potential match interview here, which I think would be pretty good to get from Machi's side. But we also have a couple other things to look forward to while we're getting there. No, let's skip right there. Let's go straight to Kant, and we'll be translating this one over into English.
在我这边的是 Machi Esports 的 Kent。
大家好，我是 Machi Esports 的 Ken。
OK， 那恭喜你们以4-0获得胜利。
Congratulations on your 4-0。
有一些问题想要问你。那前2场呢，你们都是遇到非常坚实的队伍。那今天
So
这
you
一
had
场
two
算
tough
是首胜，
matchups in the 2 weeks. What about
其实
tonight?
就是对队伍来讲，就是定下了一个就是蛮好的基啊，就是。
This was a very good opportunity for us.
其实没有打得那么好，因为
we didn't have a good performance the first 2 weeks.
没有大家想的来磨那么快，因为我们语言其实还是有一点障碍。
We've also synergized quite well. There's been some communication issues we've improved on.
对。
OK， 那第二个问题是，大家都知道你是被斗阵耽误的音乐人，那么本身那边
we all know you as a musician.
Penny 的，他也是音乐人，你们有
We
没有
know Penny is on the other team is also a musician.
唱之类的呢？
Will you guys collaborate?
如果我们语言通的话，语言通的
If
话
we could speak the same language, then I think we probably
真
could.
的 OK， 那第3个就是呢，想要问你有没有想要跟粉丝说一些话呢
Would you like to say something to the fans?
就是很感谢大家继续支持 Machi Esports， 然后来这边看。
Really thankful for all the support that you've given us.
我就蛮感动的啦，因为其实我们在之前其实战绩都不太好，
It's been very
可能粉丝
heartfelt.
不过我们现在会越来越
We've had some rocky
打进季后赛，然后拿取第1名。
We've had some rocky performances in the past, and right now our goal is to prove ourselves once again and be deserving of all the support that you have given us. And with that, it is Machi and Bazaar out of the way. Match 1 done and dusted. So let's look forward to match number 2. Coming up after the break will be Hong Kong Attitude taking up against Chaos Theory from Singapore. So don't go anywhere. We'll see you after the break.